Hello, today I'm going to show you how to organize your work documentation, but first I'm staying at this cool capsule hotel thing and filming is a little bit weird, so forgive the weird lighting. So if you watch this video until the end, your coworkers and boss are going to love you. First, here are some examples of my work documentation. Here you can see I documented everything I learned, all my processes. For this one, I documented all of my research, and for this one, I documented all of my projects. First, I'm going to show you how to set up your own documentation for work. Then I'll share some more helpful documents to help you get a promotion and keep track of different projects. You'll also learn how to be the best employee the company has ever seen. So I have this template, it's on my storefront, but it's very simple. Basically, what you want to do is set up different categories for your job responsibilities. You can set it up to whatever makes sense for you. So for example, if you work at a startup and you wear many hats, you might get asked to do many different things. So I just set that as different categories here. Then I just make subpages for every new category. For subpages, sometimes it can be very simple. I just write like 2 lines and it's like a reminder for myself. Other times it's just screenshots and links to other helpful documentation that I don't want to get lost in Slack messages. Here is another example for my own creator business. Instead of separating it in job categories like I did for my work at a startup, I separated it into external, internal, and just like whatever categories make sense to me. You can see it's not perfect. It's kind of messy sometimes, but it works well for me, so that's why I still use it. One more thing I want to mention is that you can use Tango to help you basically write SOPs or standard operating procedures. So if you're trying to teach a coworker something and you don't want to constantly explain, and you also don't want to take screenshots and type stuff because you're lazy, here's what you can do instead. Here's an example. This is a template from my life tracking course, and I teach people how to basically use Notion to track their life. And this is an example of how I teach them using Tango. You can see it's very interactive with the tutorials, and you can literally copy paste the link and send it to anyone. So that's how I do my work documentation. Next, I'm going to teach you how to document your wins. So again, this wins document is part of my work documentation template, which you can find on my storefront. I'll link it in the description. But again, it's very, very simple. What you want to do is every time someone gives you a compliment or every time you do something you're super proud of, dump it in here. I categorized it super easily. You can just change the categories to whatever makes sense for you. But something to make it easier is if you, every single week, at the end of the week, reflect on some of your wins from the week, some of your challenges and things that you learned. Then at the end of every month or just regularly, you can just copy paste all the wins that you listed by week and use that in your quarterly reviews or when you're negotiating a salary or anything else. Or if you feel sad and you need a pick-me-up, you can just pull out this wins document. Oh, it can also help you when applying for new jobs and trying to go for a promotion or raise. Another really cool template that'll make all your coworkers love you is this following up template. Let me show you how it works. So basically, anytime you message someone and they're like, oh, I can't do that right now, can you check in with me later? But then you both forget to do it and then it never gets done. Use this template instead. How it works is every time you need to follow up on something, put it in here, and every week or every few days, just go through it and just continue to follow up with people on all of these things. I have an explanation on how to use the template here in the document. I'll leave the link in the description below so you can check it out yourself. If you use this template, people are going to give you the most helpful employee award for this. Okay, this last thing I want to talk about is the most important thing you need to learn to succeed in the workplace. It's workplace communication. Again, this is part of my workplace documentation template, but you can read through it all if you purchase the template. You know how in school you're taught to write like 10-page essays and there's like a minimum page count? Well, usually CEOs and bosses, they don't have that kind of time to write like 10 pages of your documentation. If they don't understand what you're trying to say in like 1 or 2 paragraphs or even 1 or 2 sentences, you're just wasting their time, and time is money. So if you learn to be succinct and learn how to communicate properly, you get more visibility, people see you doing cool things, and you get seen as this helpful person who does their job well, which means you get more promotions, more raises, and you can even build a personal brand and build trust with all your coworkers and your team, which just leads to better career growth. So this article about having good workplace communication is in that template. So for your next steps after watching this video, I would love for you to check out my storefront, but I'll also link the free following up template in the description below. If you want to learn how to get more organized with your documentation, whether it's for your side hustle, a project, or for work, check out my life tracking course. It's also in the description below. That's all for today. I post fun documentation, organization, and productivity tips like this every week, so make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next week.